Welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio here this morning. More NIL talk because we have rules now. We have rules. Didn't even need a crazy commission to get those things done. So months after the rules changed, we have new guidelines. Sorry, that is the way to put it here in the NCAA space. So we'll touch on that today.
Make rules at the beginning, right? Isn't that usually the way?
Well, no, we have retroactive rules, and they're allowed to go back and retroactively punish. So,
yeah.
So we'll talk about that. A couple quick baseball things. A little bit. I found a couple quotes I want to go over that were really funny about the horse and getting hit in the head yesterday. So I'm going to run over that a little bit today. Got several different things we'll hit over the course of today's show. We're sort of in the silly season a little bit where there's not a ton going on. I mean, I know we have baseball, but there's only so much that you can do with a 10-14 team that's playing in Baton Rouge here. Ole Miss did announce.
Well, the truth is, we're like normal people. All the stuff that's going on in the world, we follow it as well.
Yes.
And so we're interested in that as well, but we don't talk about it here because I think our job is to be a distraction for other people from that. But sometimes it's hard to come up with a lot of distractions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, the stuff going on we're interested in. We were just talking about the law enforcement officer and the inmate from, is it Alabama where they escaped?
Lauderdale County in Alabama.
Yeah. Like we were talking about that they caught them yesterday. She committed suicide. They caught the criminal. Just a crazy story. So anyway.
So I don't know. We could. I mean, look, we are a couple weeks away from veering off into God knows what, because that's what we do during the summer. It just is what it is, and we're not too far from that. Probably like the second week of June once some other stuff shakes out. So that's kind of my thought process there.
Any particular reason you're wearing an Omaha shirt today? You trying to say that you think something's about to come? Huh?
Yeah, floatingly, I'm willing things not into existence right now. Actually, is what's going on. So.
Chase is predicting a sweep at LSU.
2 of 3 against A&M.
And then
that's 5.
Win the SEC tournament, win a road regional, get a home super regional, win it, and go to Omaha. The most unlikely of circumstances. I'd actually enjoy watching our message board at that point. The conflict, the dichotomy of thought would be.
I'm taking a month off if they find a way to 15-15 and then get to a super regional and lose a game 3. I'm I'm done. There's no answer at that point. Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford, blue sky location, up and down I-55 all throughout North Mississippi as well. Lunch specials, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drinks, and the Exxon mobile app. Download it. When you do that, you get 1,000 bonus points. That equals $10, even at the pump you're filling up at the time. So do that. You can take a picture of the QR code. They make it easy to get those 1,000 points with the Oxford Exxon. Again, all blue sky locations throughout Mississippi, and coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line, no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest, join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to grab a burger, a po' boy, appetizers, got a great beer selection. Full bar and more. Great place to hang out if you're getting out of the heat for a minute. You want to watch some college baseball, NBA playoffs, whatever the case may be, NHL playoffs, whatever floats your boat. You can do that there at Rafters. Also at Rafters in New Albany.
So I neglected this yesterday, and I just sort of forgot, to be honest. Mike announcing, which is not surprising news, Raleigh Maddox out for the rest of the season. Is going to most likely need Tommy John surgery on his UCL. And the bigger impact to that is that you start doing the timeline, and even in a absolute best-case scenario, you're talking 10, 11 months, probably a full year. So that is a good bit of next season as well on Maddox, the talented freshman out of Jackson. the only thing that I think that if you're a fan that I think you can feel some frustration, and I understand. I mean, I asked Mike after Sunday's game, kind of where's he at, what happened, and he said that when they first did the MRI, when he first had the pain, it was diagnosed as a forearm flexor strain, and essentially they thought that it was a little inconclusive, so they could do maybe some PRP, some plasma injections, some different things, avoid the surgery standpoint. But as time went on, it did not improve at all, and they realized that there was a UCL strain as well, which, again, I don't understand, and I'm not trying to play doctor here, but every time we hear forearm stiffness or soreness or pain, it is 80% of the time a UCL predictor.
Yes.
So why that would not be fine-tooth combed at that point, I do not understand. That is my only question that I have going into this is, well, I mean, I'm not a doctor or a baseball coach, and I'm aware that is the key indicator on elbow issues is forearm pain, unless it completely blows out and then you have elbow pain. But most of the time, it is a referred pain into your forearm because of the things you're doing to protect your elbow is the way that starts. So either way, he will have the surgery, I'm assuming, at some point here soon, and you're looking at
He's not going to play next year.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose a year. For him, first of all, it sucks for him. That's the first person I always think about is the player.
Timing-wise, it is the worst time it could happen, and you don't want that injury to happen to anybody, obviously, at any point.
And then from a program standpoint, it's a blow.
Oh, it's a big blow, yeah.
Because I think he was going to be a rotational piece next year, and now he won't. Because those things it's 9 months before you throw, but it's 12 months before you really throw. And I know there are exceptions, but the exceptions are really rare.
Yeah, you can't predict on a schedule a 10 to 10.5 month recovery.
Right. It's you pretty much.
If you get lucky, you get lucky. But.
Yeah. And so at this point, with the way the timing is, I would take the more conservative approach with that. Where
just take the season.
I would.
And his first game action somewhere next summer.
Yeah.
Go to the Cape or something.
Yeah.
That's possible. See that. Ole Miss and Hattiesburg Wednesday, as I mentioned yesterday. Drew McDaniel will start for Ole Miss. He's been the midweek starter for several weeks. That wasn't a surprise. And then Ole Miss obviously going with the same rotation this weekend. Dylan DeLucia, Hunter Elliott, and Derek Diamond. Hunter Elliott named the SEC Freshman of the Week this week for his performance against Missouri over the weekend. Apparently, it's a pretty tough ticket. I was talking to a buddy on the way over here, and general admission prices even being scalped at an increased rate for Hattiesburg on Wednesday night. So,
wow.
Apparently, all jokes aside, that's a pretty hostile environment for Ole Miss. Like, it gets pretty rough down there. So that's
won't be a lot of Rebel fans in the stadium.
There is a bit of a chip on some shoulders down there. Yeah, it gets Ole Miss will have to counter that a little bit and play within themselves. I mean, and it's a Southern Miss team that's scuffling a little bit. They've lost 2 out of 3 2 weekends in a row. I think they lost to UAB 2 out of 3, and then Old Dominion, as we mentioned yesterday, 2 out of 3. I mean, they're right kind of on that host line where they need to get some business done. Southern needs the win for their own purposes as much as Ole Miss does. I expect almost kind of a postseason type midweek game tomorrow night. I think it's got a chance to be kind of lively. ESPN Plus, we said yesterday, is streaming that, so there's that as well. So I don't know. I guess that's all that's going on from a baseball standpoint that I'm aware of. I'm pulling up Ross Dellinger talking about NIL.
Who does Southern Miss hate more, Ole Miss or Mississippi State?
Probably Ole Miss. I mean, it's what's so stupid a little bit is that I think the answer is because of like all these stereotypes and whatnot and whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And look, can those exist in some ways? Sure. But like 70% of the fan bases, there's not a nickel's damn worth of difference in anybody. You know what I mean? It's all kind of stupid a little bit. So I don't know.
You're saying Ole Miss fans and Mississippi State fans are the same people? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying a larger percentage are than, yes, the stereotypical presence that happens with that. Yes, that is what I'm saying.
So you're saying if you go into the Grove on a football Saturday that there are some people that are just dressed normally? They're not everybody is dressed to the nines?
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oxford and Starkville are very different, but from an overall fan base standpoint, you're going to have some. Yes, I mean,
yeah.
It's like anything else. I mean, it's when I'm talking about. Well, look, the team is this. Like the fan base is this. So the whole fan base. Like, just, they're all like robots that put on the same shirt.
It's a really broad brush.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody in agriculture is an Ole Miss fan. There's not a single lawyer that's a State fan anywhere. No, they don't do that. I mean, like I said, I get it. I mean, stereotypes are things for a reason.
Sure.
There are truth in all stereotypes.
Yes, of course.
I mean, before somebody blows a gasket, I'm not.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
not everybody at A&M's in the country.
Well, and then the TV cameras find the idiots that perpetuate it. I mean, it was like when whatever year it was, the guy was this College World Series. The State was there, and they're doing some little thing or whatever, and this State redneck guy was like, "We drive tractors and they sue people." It's like, oh Jesus Christ! Like, okay, all right. I'll get a hateful email over that. Somebody going, nope, we're very dumb. Okay.
I've told people of all the places, the one that I probably know the least about is Mississippi State. I've never really been there.
Is that because you didn't cover them or play? Like you didn't cover games when you were in Alabama? Is that what that comes from?
Well, I mean, I guess it was always a drivable one-day deal. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like if I was covering Auburn, if I could get back to Mobile after a State game and buy a night at home.
Yeah, so you're not.
And when I covered the SEC, I would just drive to Starkville and drive back. I never did the overnight thing in Starkville. And obviously when you're covering Ole Miss, there's no reason to stay overnight there. So I just don't know the town very well.
They've done a better job. I've said this. I think one of the things that happens to them is that when you're going to the athletic facilities, all you see is the highway and the pastures and stuff, and you never have to actually go through town for anything. Like you have to make it a purpose to get into areas that, look, it's not great, but they have done a better job. I mean, it's not what it was 15 years ago. So, I mean, something like that. Let's see. All right, I've got this up. Where is it? Sorry, I know it's a bad pod.
While you're looking that up, there's a few people in the thread that are talking about the Grizzlies, and go ahead. Yes, welcome to how it felt to be a Thunder fan. Maddening. They get every call.
Why? It's not a major market. Why?
Why does the Warriors get every call? Well,
we can do this for a minute. We got time.
They have one of the game's biggest superstars.
Sure.
Steph Curry is a major draw.
And star matters more than market, frankly.
Yeah, in that league especially.
Milwaukee, Oklahoma City over time.
And they just, like I said, they're the sneaky one of the dirtiest teams in basketball. They get away with it because offensively they play pretty. But there's nothing pretty about them. They're not soft. I think they're borderline dirty. I've said that for years. I think Draymond Green gets away with things that he shouldn't get away with, but he gets away with it. Thompson is just an elite defensive player, and I think officials have an expectation that they'll get fouled. They go to the line a lot. I'm sure it's an incredibly difficult game to officiate at the NBA level, especially at the playoff level where every possession is really dialed in. And then if you're Memphis, this series, you're going to lose the series now. And this series is going to be one that it's going to haunt them a little bit unless they use it as a tool to improve for next season.
And a lot of teams do that. They have that series where they learn from it and go, okay, we're cool.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Ja's only 22.
Yeah, Ja's young, and they have other pieces that are really, really good. The only thing that I was joking around with Brendan Chapman yesterday on Twitter about it, where he was like, this could be the beginning of something. And it is the way you look at it. But you don't know how long you'll have all these guys together. You don't know how many years you'll go into a postseason healthy. You see the injury with Ja, to my point. You just don't know how many chances you get. So, You want to take advantage when you get a chance, and they had a real chance this year as the 2 seed in a Western Conference that's good, but there's no great team. I mean, the Warriors aren't a great team. The Suns aren't a great team. The Mavericks aren't a great team. It's kind of an opportunity. That game 1 loss in Memphis is going to haunt for a while. That was a game they should have won.
Over in 6. Get 5. Well, I mean, I guess we don't know about Ja's health, but
I would think the Grizzlies have a real good shot at home in Game 5, and then Game 6 is
that's a chore.
You're going to have to bring your big boy pants. Because, they're going to get calls. You got to understand that. They're going to get calls.
So a lot of it is just mentally going, okay, just let it go.
Got to grind through it. And then the last 2 minutes, you have to play better than Memphis.
Well, because that game was there.
Yeah.
You play better in the last 2 minutes, you win the basketball game.
And they played poorly in the final 2 minutes. And a couple calls went against them, but they also took bad shots. They did things that you can't do that, give the Warriors credit, they didn't do. They got the ball where it needed to go.
Made a point in here about the other thing, too. I do think there's a difference in the Ole Miss and State fan bases, and I believe in some ways it's fueled institutionally. I think State putting so much emphasis on Mississippi and this competition with Ole Miss and trying to pull Ole Miss down in the mud creates fan base differences beyond just socioeconomic or anything else that fuels into it. And I've believed that for a long time. I mean, Scott Strickland back in the day hurt his fan base by apologizing for playing a Power 5 game. That affects your fan base's psyche. That changes what they believe. That does all these different things. And when State at times shoots so low, it creates. Because look, if your target is right in front of you and that's all you're looking at, and you're not trying to really expand, and you can't do that, well, there's just frustration. There's no other step. It's not, hey, we didn't reach the pinnacle of what we're shooting for, but we made some whatever. No, they have one. It was, in some ways it's one goal, and that's a scary place to be. And frankly, it's impacted Ole Miss because Ole Miss has to really try hard, and they don't do a very good job of it at times of avoiding that. Yeah, not getting down in the mud.
I've talked about this till I'm dizzy almost. And a lot of people disagree with me, and they tell me you're not a Mississippian and you don't understand. And okay, I've been here for a while though.
Not brand new.
I mean, it's not virgin territory here at this point. I think Ole Miss is better off when it's dominating Mississippi State, not acting like that's a big deal.
And avoiding them, in a way. Mentally.
Yeah.
Look, don't put the clock up in the field house. Stop.
I mean, Lane, to his credit, doesn't do a lot of that crap. He plays with them sometimes.
Yeah.
But he kind of plays with everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't talk about winning the national championship
and then focus on State.
And then, hey, we beat State. Look at this trophy, and you can't. It doesn't match unless that trophy is another step on the way to the national championship.
Yeah.
Ole Miss's goal should be very simple when you get to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well, how do you get to Atlanta? You got to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Beating Mississippi State. If I say, okay, you're getting to Atlanta, it's a given that you beat State, right? It's a given. You beat State. The SEC did Ole Miss a favor years ago with this, and I think it's coming to an end in the next few years, but Vanderbilt's your permanent opponent. If you're Ole Miss, to get to Atlanta, you've got to beat Vanderbilt. You've got to beat Mississippi State.
We talk about this forever. The path to being consistently upper tier, forget Atlanta or whatever else, is dominate State, dominate Vanderbilt, and find a way against everybody else.
Yeah, because you
beat the teams that are in disarray, because there'll be one or two of those elsewhere, and then do the best you can with whomever's left.
Because part of the business plan, if you say, okay, here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to dominate LSU. Okay, well, they're going to have something to say about that.
Yeah.
We're going to dominate Auburn. Nah. We're going to dominate Alabama. Maybe you're going to get laughed at. Even we're going to dominate Arkansas.
Yeah.
I don't know. History says you won't.
Yeah.
But you can dominate State.
And Vanderbilt.
And you can dominate Vanderbilt. And if you start every season 2-0 in the league, okay, well, now you can build on that. But your focus can't internally be obsessed with Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And to Kiffin's credit, he's not at all. Like, he doesn't get into the trap on, hey, we've got to take these Mississippi kids because they're Mississippi kids and we got to win the Mississippi. Nope. He's like, no, I need players who can win SEC games against Alabama and Auburn and LSU and Texas A&M. Because you can hate all these places all you want to. If you see them through the lens of an 18-year-old kid, you're like, this is we got competition here. Yeah.
Sure. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understand your market. Leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
As the weather heats up, so do the deals from Dead Soxy. Dead Soxy's mystery box is a super deal for you. You get 20 pairs of socks, 20, for only $70 if you enter the code Rebel Grove at checkout. In addition, you can use Rebel Grove for 35% off site-wide, off everything else. So deadsoxy.com, stock up on your favorite no-shows or dress socks and step into warmer weather in style. As always, stay Soxy. Game Changer patches are the only two-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch is used before or while you drink. The overtime patch is used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. So go to GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. ACS, Automation Control Systems, LLC. It's based in Baldwin, Mississippi. It is an electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation Recognized System Integrator. ACS has a full-time, dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. ACS can custom tailor software packages, custom design electrical control panel solutions, and much more. To learn more, go to acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Brought to you by Lammons Fine Jewelry in Oxford. Lammons at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard. It's been serving the Oxford area for about 3/4 of a century, from engagement rings to wedding rings to fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lammons is the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call people at Southern, 662-429-4429.
Podcast is brought to you by Prime Shrimp. Remember to head to the message board. There's a thread there for a free giveaway. All you have to comment is if you have purchased in the past, give a little bit of review. Just say you ordered. Even you don't necessarily have to say anything about it, and you'll be automatically entered to win into that giveaway. If you haven't done that, you get $20 off your first order with MPW. Take advantage of that. Use the link, primeshrimp.com. 5 different flavors to choose from, including a couple new ones. So, again, that's on the message board, and that is straight to your door, delivered through primeshrimp.com. Yeah, I mean, I do get it. It's hard to dominate a series against a team that is a program that is, competent. State's not incompetent at all, and gets all of its energy from playing you. That is a spot to be. It's where at least the game's at the end of the year. I know people have talked about, hey, you don't want to, what if you moved it and that would minimize it and whatever. I think that would be a bit of a trap because I think it would be a bigger problem for Ole Miss playing that game in the middle of the schedule somewhere when State does so much to get amped up for it. Now, I think it would be even more detrimental to State at some other time of the year, but I think that would be a more strange situation. Somebody said in the stream that, in a way, Leach is the perfect fit because he's going to win a lot of games, look kind of cool doing it, but the problem is that he doesn't take Ole Miss very seriously, and he's going to find out really quickly. It doesn't really matter what else you do if you do not win that football game.
Well, if he doesn't win the game
this year
on Thanksgiving night this year, he's going to wake up on Black Friday
in a spot of bother.
Yeah.
You can't,
probably have a come to Jesus after that.
You think so? Hey, we got
I don't know that anybody could survive there losing 4 years in a row to Ole Miss. He's lost 2.
Yeah.
If he loses another one, I think the message would be sent.
And depending on what the records are. If any of these projections and Ole Miss does find some different quarterback play and some different stuff, you wake up and you lost that game and you're 6-6 and Ole Miss is 9-3. Well, that's a deal. So, I got a text from somebody who said that a lot of the issue with Southern Miss and Ole Miss is that Southern Miss cannot get over the fact that Ole Miss won't play them in football. That has been a sticking point that they will not get past. And there's no reason for Ole Miss to
I would
Southern Miss
question
in
the
football.
sanity of anyone at Ole Miss who scheduled that game.
It does nothing for you.
Literally nothing.
If you're gonna do the in-state thing, then instead of playing Central Arkansas, play Jackson State. Got no issue with that. Keep the money in state. Tell Jackson State to bring the band and have a big time.
Sure.
I got no problem with that.
Sure.
Frankly, I think it'd be a good idea.
Because it's
I would do that.
A 0 chance you lose the game.
Yeah, need enough, and nobody.
You
who
quietly
gives a crap if you play Southern Illinois or Jackson? I mean, whatever.
You quietly get to giggle at Dion a little bit.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd schedule it.
Yeah.
Hey, come up. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll have a big time.
Yeah, but I'm not playing Southern Miss.
Why?
No point. 0 point. There's nothing in it for you. And they would probably want some sort of a 3-for-1 or something to get you in.
And I'm not going to the Rock.
No, I'll go to Tulane.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, my fans like to go there. I go to SMU. My fans like to go there. I'm trying to recruit Dallas, not just athletically, but academically.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I have to have a reason to be in that town if I go.
Yeah, if I'm going to go play a group of 5 team on the road, I've got to have a reason to do it. And off the top of my head, those are the only 2 that I can come up with.
SMU and Tulane.
Yeah. I can justify those trips. Got huge alumni
Georgia Tech
base.
makes it. I know it's a Power 5 team,
Yeah.
but that makes tons of sense.
Sure.
That
Georgia Tech makes tons of sense. It's fine. It's a Power 5 game.
Yeah, it's served a lot of purposes.
You're
likely going to win in an area you recruit academically and athletically.
Yeah, you have a lot of alumni in Atlanta. It's one of our top 5 or 6 markets every single month.
Yeah.
Makes a ton of sense. But Southern Miss makes no sense.
Dallas makes more sense than Houston.
Yeah. But you could justify a game. Maybe at Rice.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Or just play Houston.
Or Houston, yeah.
Yeah. And they're in the Big 12 now. They actually can get you a Power 5 slot that you need.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Their program will take a jump.
Oh, that's one where if you said, hey, in 10 years,
Houston,
they're not nationally elite maybe, but pretty damn competent.
UCF.
Because they're just so big.
Cincinnati getting into a Big 12 now. Probably game changer for them a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I would also never go to Memphis, ever.
Yeah,
ever.
No, I would never go to Memphis.
And if that means I don't play you in basketball, then I just don't play you in basketball.
Fine. No one cares. There's no reason to play them. There's too many other options that just make more sense.
So, interim name, image, and likeness policy guidance regarding third-party involvement was the headline that the NCAA put on their form that they
read it to me again.
Interim name, image, and likeness policy guidance regarding third-party involvement.
Interim.
Again,
these people.
So, stick with me.
I wouldn't last long at the NCAA.
Okay, so stick with me for a minute.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna take a second, but I think this is important. I think the wording is very important. So if I give a sentence that you want to stop, feel free.
Okay.
Third parties defined as boosters, which is what this is all actually about. It's that is the key part of this, is that the NCAA is, I'm going to read the actual sentences because, again, people don't typically read the actual sentences. I think that's important here. But in theory, they're trying to say that every collective or directive or entity is a booster to some level for the most part. That is the Cliff Notes version that I'm about to read. So, as a starting point, it is important to understand how a representative of athletic interest booster is defined by NCAA legislation. A booster is in part defined as an individual, independent, agency, or corporate entity. Examples meaning apparel or equipment manufacturers, or other organization who is known or should have been known by a member of the institution's executive or athletics administration to have participated in or to be a member of an agency or organization promoting the institution's intercollegiate athletics program, or to assist or have assisted in providing benefits to enroll student athletes or their family members. That's the entire definition. By definition, that is every single collective and directive and person who even I mean, frankly, who even publicly goes, hey, root for the Rebels, by definition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just saying. I mean, again, I'm reading the definition, and that is a loose interpretation of what that is. Then in bold, below that, they put, it appears the overall mission of many, if not all, of the above-referenced third-party entities is to promote or support a specific NCAA institution by making available NIL opportunities to prospective student-athletes and student-athletes of particular institutions, thereby triggering the definition of a booster.
Okay. All right.
With this in mind, NCAA rules related to the involvement of boosters in recruiting activities remain relevant to the interim NCAA policy. Specifically, NCAA rules will preclude boosters from engaging in recruiting activities, including recruiting conversations on behalf of a school. Further, NCAA recruiting rules preclude boosters from providing benefits to PSAs, prospective student-athletes, and preclude institutional staff members from being involved directly or indirectly with the provision of benefits to a PSA. Finally, it's important to note that existing NCAA prohibitions related to pay for play have not changed as a result of the interim NIL policy. Guidance related to prospective student-athletes. This is also the last thing I'm going to read, and then we'll get to talking. Recruiting conversations between an individual or entity that has triggered booster status and PSA are not permissible. Meaning essentially any situation prior to the person being enrolled that is in any way about, hey, are you coming here? Well, we might pay you this, blah, 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 blah. Booster NIL entities may not communicate with a PSA's family, or other affiliated with the PSA for a recruiting purpose or to encourage the PSA's enrollment at a particular institution. Boosters may not engage in recruiting activities, including recruiting conversations on behalf of a school. One more. It might have been it. I don't know. That's good enough for now. There's tons more minutia, but it doesn't really matter. That's the gist. And then, as we have said, and what Dellinger is saying too, is they are telling the NCAA enforcement staff they have the ability to retroactively look at previous NIL deals, previous NIL conversations, and essentially, they point this out. This is what's kind of incredible about this, and say, go after the egregious ones. Basically, if the speed limit's 55, if they went 60 or 65, we can't really do anything about that because we don't have the manpower. But go find the dude who went 90 and punish the hell out of them. And then moving forward, punish anybody who breaks the rule whatsoever.
All right, so who are the egregious ones?
Well, I mean, A&M.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Because in this, again, and I don't want to find it for the minutia, but the gist is they clarify NIL in their minds. It's supposed to be simply a representation of market value once a student-athlete is enrolled that is relevant to his stature for that market value and does not have anything to do with what school he chooses or his playing time or anything that could be induced as play-for-play at that point. So by those interpretations, Tennessee, A&M, Jackson State, Travis Hunter just didn't wake up and go, woo. Kentucky.
So let's take Jackson State for a minute because I think that's interesting. So you would have to prove
that Dion bartered the deal with Barstool and that he was only going to get the money if he went to Jackson State, and that it was an amount representative of his stature with his situation.
Okay.
Yes. And Dion, being a Barstool employee, muddies the hell out of that water.
And with Tennessee, you would have to prove that the collective, at the behest of the coaching staff,
targeted Nico Iamaleava
and signed him to a contract
because he was the quarterback Tennessee was pursuing in its signing class. Yes, that's correct.
Because anybody that looks at that and thinks that contract is good if he goes to any place other than Tennessee is.
And it's why I think the Miami guy, at least legally, was trying to be smart when he signed a ton of Miami kids, but he also funneled some money to kids' other schools. And he went, I don't know, I'm just paying kids. I don't know, whatever. I got the kid that went to Florida or went to FIU or FAU or whatever. Bethune-Cookman. I don't know.
Okay, so the next step.
Yeah.
Because this is where I think this is going.
Sure.
I actually believe the NCAA is going to try to hammer somebody. Okay, that's obvious.
I do too. No, they are going to identify one person and try to absolutely beat the hell out of them.
And I don't think it's going to be Jackson State.
I would think it's Kentucky.
Okay.
With the possibility of Tennessee.
The collective at Kentucky, the boosters, whatever you want to call them, are going to fight back.
They are.
Because when they were doing what they were doing,
Yes.
it was not against the rules. It was, but it wasn't.
I'm not even, again, I'm playing devil's advocate for a podcast. It was, though. How was it not against the rules? I mean, I know what you're saying. We all know
because
what you're
everybody
saying.
was doing it.
Sure. But we're talking about these idiot pocket protector guys in Indianapolis. Why was it not against the rules?
So when the collectives fight back, and they will, and they say, okay, we will sue you, this is going to become boosters versus the NCAA. Where will this game be played? Will it be played in an NCAA courtroom, or will it be played in a courtroom?
Because
to
what's
me,
going
that's
to
the
happen
question.
is as soon as a school gets hit, their collective is going to file antitrust legislation or lawsuits.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen.
Which means that will go to a court, not an NCAA hearing.
That is correct.
See, to me, this feels like the first really big step towards breaking away from the NCAA and forming something new. This is the beginning of a mini NFL. Am I overreacting? Am I missing something? I'm free to admit that I get some of these wrong.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I think the NCAA has the bones to make an example out of one person. Because here's the thing, too. They're lacking in staff from an enforcement standpoint. They're down even normal employee levels. So
Yeah.
they don't even have the ability to investigate more than like one or two schools. They just don't have the manpower. They have no ability. They have no ability to fight to the level that you're talking about. But it's kind of back to the conversation of the day. We're in a little bit of an echo chamber because
So what do? Do they go talk to Nico Iamaliva, who's not even an NCAA student athlete yet?
Yeah.
They sit down with him and say, take me through this?
Yes. When were you contacted? Why?
Who contacted you?
Yes.
What did they promise you?
What'd they say?
And there's a contract.
Yes. Which is good and bad for all parties. It's a weird spot to be in. Because, look, state law allows you to, because, I mean, again, it's so muddy because in Mississippi, you can do NILs with high school kids. Well,
But the truth is,
it comes back to these schools being representatives of the athletic department.
like, let's say, who's the quarterback he just transferred into Oxford? He's committed to Utah. I can't think of his name. Mac Howard.
Yeah, sure.
Look at me. Like if a local Oxford business, let's say walk-ons, right, wants to do something with Mac Howard where he gets a little scratch. That's kind of what the purpose of NIL was originally, right?
That was the Pollyanna purpose the NCAA dreamed of, yes.
But if Mac Howard does a deal with a business in town that's an Ole Miss booster, and then he ends up at Ole Miss, that would look shady, right? Are you following?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
If a kid from let's say a kid from West Point does a deal with a business in West Point that's a big Mississippi State booster, and then he ends up at Mississippi State.
It almost makes me think the collectives, because look, the name doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? I'm kind of doing this retroactively in my head a little bit too. I think if I'm trying to completely avoid this, I'm developing a name that has nothing to do with the school. Because what difference does it make? They know who you are. They'll take your money. It doesn't really matter if you're one Oklahoma or whatever else.
Sure.
The Garnet Trust. I would do something not that, and just to protect myself, I don't know what the percentage is, but I would pay kids at other schools. My name is some generic name, and I'm paying 18% of my money to kids that went to, and it doesn't have to be your rival, just whomever.
But is the NCAA wanting to put the genie back in the bottle here? Is that what this is? What they want is for the kids not to get paid? Is that what they want? That's what they wanted for the longest time.
They're pissed because they were dumb enough to think it wasn't going to go 100 miles an hour on the Autobahn.
So what do they want now, though? What do they want? What's
control?
What's
they
their
always
objective?
want. Well, be part of. Look, there's 2 points to this. I think they have 2 clear objectives, in my opinion. One is to put these guidelines in place, thinking that even if it just pulls people back from 90 to 78, the existence of rules will curtail a little bit. Right, wrong, indifferent.
Okay.
And then you punish one person to make an example where everybody else maybe at least backs off a little more. Okay. So in the course of 2.5, 3 years, make your jokes on how long it's going to take. Instead of going 90, they're going 72. But they have no power to do anything more than that. I mean, frankly, most people can just do whatever they want, and they're not going to get caught at all because there's no manpower to catch them.
Right.
And the NCAA can't go to court with every collective.
So these people that I'm asking these questions because I very clearly just don't know these people very well. The people that are unhappy with what's happening right now, is it because the playing field has changed? Is it because there are new powers emerging that there's nothing you can do about it? What is
it's
that?
It's because that people are uncomfortable because it's no longer the thing we don't say out loud. It's back to the thing with the fans being upset. It's the same thing here too.
They want to
the
go back.
NCAA had a guise of amateurism when we could all just go, nope, it's all under the table and we're not talking about it. But now the NCAA gets every morning and with their eggs, they open up the paper or the internet and they see $8 million. They see $2 million. They see $700,000 and they go, and they throw up. That's what's happening.
But it's not just the people in Indianapolis is my point. Because if you're following the story here, if you believe Dellinger's reporting, if you believe Staples' reporting, the NCAA people in Indianapolis are being encouraged by its membership to go do this.
Yeah.
That's my point. So, I love the narrative of vilifying the idiots in Indianapolis as much as anybody. But I'm not sure that's a correct narrative this time. I know they're not happy, but if you follow the reporting.
But half the ADs are also saying, hey, they have no enforcement, and one of them goes, that's adorable. Like,
one of the ADs said that?
I may be getting the quotes mixed up, but either way, a couple of the ADs said, hey, this isn't actually enforceable. Like, we're all wasting our time. Well, yeah. And again, that's just 1 or 2 ADs.
That's what I think, too. I think this is going to be
I'm sure there's some ADs who are pissed off going, we can't play in those games, so bring those sumbitches back to us. Well, sure. I mean, that's competitive balance.
Sure.
Whatever. But the NCAA could easily avoid, I guess my point is, while it's sure, they are the ones directing and they're the members and the NCAA is made up of the schools and all that stuff. At the end of the day, if the NCAA heads and administration didn't want to tackle this, they wouldn't tackle this just because 10 ADs were pissed off about it.
Agreed.
Agreed.
So what I'm getting at, what I think the reality is, we've talked about this. We've talked about it a lot to the point where people are like, I'm tired of you talking about NIL. And we're like, we're sick of talking about it. But it's the story in sports.
Sure.
Certainly in what we cover.
Sure.
Look at Ole Miss as an example. Keith Carter's trying to raise money for facilities. They're trying to you got to pay coaches. They love Lane Kiffin. To keep Lane Kiffin, if he keeps winning, is going to be expensive. You got to pay off coaches that are leaving, all that stuff. And you go to the same group of people for money all the time, and you're asking them for money. And now, in addition, you're kind of asking, hey, and we need you to help us pay the players through the collectives. And people are like, yeah, well, I can't do everything.
And frankly, that's where our number one goal is at the moment, maybe.
Yeah. And so for a lot of these schools, well, it's chicken and egg and all that stuff. Look, ideally, and I'm with you here. I'm stunned that anyone in athletics believed it was going to stay pure.
Sure.
But ideally, the point of it was to do things like what we're doing with Peyton Chatney,
yeah,
Troy Brown. Here's money for a product. You endorse a business. You're already at the school. Look, obviously, Troy Brown didn't come to Ole Miss because he could do a show on MPW Digital. I mean, I'd love to think that was part of it, but I'm
pretty realistic there.
Yeah,
That's not it.
My ego's not that big. So it was just a side thing. It makes a little money of NIL, but that's not what NIL is now. NIL now is, hey, all these guys, because I've heard a certain number at Ole Miss even, that all these guys generally get roughly this. And not all those guys are doing much. I mean, tweeting for the collective, give me a break. No offense to everybody involved, but stop.
Mm-hmm.
Making an Instagram post there's not value there. Yeah. You're not, unless you're.
The market value equation is not being reached.
Right.
Sure.
And there's a handful of people, and frankly, it's females that have that type of social media following that their Instagram posts have true value.
Yeah. Continue the conversation in a second. First, about Northeast Spark, NESPARC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's NESpark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and more. So again, call the office for details. It's best in and around 662-238-3159.
The College Corner is your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area and Ridgeland. It's next to Fleet Feet and Flowwood. It's next to Half Shell. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com, and you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day with the largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi. We're brought to you by Pinnacle. It's home to the Pinnacle 401k Advisory Services team. Get in touch with them, and they'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. Brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John is a part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits, simply not available to other travelers. What you do is you get in touch with John, you give him some parameters, you give him a budget, and he will give you options you're not going to find on your own. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're brought to you by Opa, Oxford's newest restaurant on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, all of that at 306 South Lamar, just south of the Square Courthouse in Oxford. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Chase is pinch hitting for me on the mailbag this week. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
Podcast also brought to you by Johnston Hill Creamery. That's johnstonhillcreamery.com. Go to their website, go to their Instagram page, and you'll see plenty of different things they have going on every single day. Small batch artisanal cheese and fermentations. They make all their cheese locally and in-house. They're in White Oak Lane off Molly Bar. They're grazing tables and more. 662-419-9201. They do a lunch menu now. They can get it delivered. You can use Fetched for that. So you can see all their different lunch options, all their different cheese options, or charcuterie plates that are fantastic, and much more. Again, johnstonhillcreamery.com. I mean, it's the dumbest. Sorry, it's the most predictable quote, even though it's exactly right. I mean, even Bob Bowlesby, who has had plenty of issues of his own, frankly has no. You can read through his quote here, some connotation to where he does not anticipate any type of meaningful action coming from the NCAA. Dellinger says in his story that the NCAA is down 15 to 20 enforcement employees at this point from pandemic layoffs. I mean, 15 to 20 is a lot. It's a big number. I mean, it's not like they've got a staff of 800. I mean, that's a big number. And they said they would replace them at some point. So that's not coming tomorrow. I mean, Bowlesby.
Not a job I'd want.
Oh, God. Whether it's possible to unring the belt remains to be seen. Seems to me we would have been infinitely better off had we gone ahead and implemented some guardrails. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Hey, Bob's that guy who never really gets a voice or whatever, and he's just kind of sitting in the back of the room, and he's listening to all of it, and somebody goes, hey, Bob, what do you think? Well, we're all idiots.
Well, Bob's also the guy that's on his way out, and he's like, as I leave, I have some parting thoughts.
Yeah. And you guys done this a year ago, maybe. We wouldn't be in this situation. Cool. All right. He does kind of seem like the guy at the back of the room just sipping a cocktail. Goes, all right.
Yeah, Bob's got his retirement. He's set. He's got his parachute. And he's like, if maybe we'd had some rules in the first place. Just saying out loud. But they didn't. They got sucked up in the summer of social justice, man. They did. That's not a political statement. It's what happened. And they just went, screw it. Do it. Do the whole thing.
What's funny, and it's not a criticism, but when I read Dellinger's story, I read the quotes from ADs. I think Staples' quote story. Actually, Staples' story had more quotes from ADs, but I'm getting them kind of mixed up because I've read so much stuff on the same topic. Everybody's talking the collectives, and I get why they're doing it. They're defending what their side of it is because the collectives are not going to admit that they participated in anything that was unlawful to the regulations prior to the kids being enrolled. But all the stories are get up toward whether it's legal once these kids, like all the quotes are relevant to once the kid is enrolled. Well, nobody's arguing that. Like, we're having a dishonest conversation in these stories.
That's what we do in college sports. We can't have a real conversation. Nobody can just be honest about it.
Because like even Ruiz, he's here. Where is this?
It's the Miami booster.
Yeah, I was looking for the quote. He says, we feel our platform is the only one in the country that truly will be resilient to any attack by the NCAA because we have a quid pro quo. The payments are made electronically to them every 2 weeks. It's a pretty well-oiled machine. Nobody is saying – he's fighting against market value, which, okay, whatever. That's never going to get enforced because prove it.
The question is
did you do it before and only because they went to Miami? That is the only question, and we're avoiding that in these stories.
Of course.
We're not talking about that.
No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to say, hey, it would if NIL weren't a factor, would Nico Iamaleava be at Tennessee? Nico Iamaleava, by the way, who still has a whole senior season to play. What made him suddenly target Tennessee? It was money, inducements. That's where this is. And so if the argument is that those guys are boosters, and they are, then yeah, you broke NCAA rules.
Well, like good luck here to a certain extent. I mean, Gene Smith, the Ohio State AD, who's on the working group for this. What's happening now, I only know what I hear, because of course we're not doing it at Ohio State. Sorry, that's my word, not theirs. Is the inducements violate rules? Hopefully this passes Monday. He said this last week. This passes Monday and will give more clarity and guidelines, but then enforcement has to enforce, and the schools need to enforce as well. That's the other part. At the end of the day, you have an institutional responsibility to enforce. So the school is going to come out and punish their own collective?
Well, I was going there. So if you're at Ole Miss today, right, you're in these meetings.
I mean, are you really going to call interviews and go, "Hey, how'd you get here? What'd happen? Who?"
Yeah, are you going to instruct your enforcement people, your compliance people? Are you going to instruct them? Hey, we probably need to dig into all these transfers. Were you offered anything? Probably need to call all these collectives. Couple of interesting calls there.
Yeah. I mean,
because you got one that you've known. I mean, I'm just going to be real here, Chase. You've got one that you've known for years was a problem. You're going to suddenly dig into it now? I bet not. But if the NCAA decides to pick on Ole Miss, and they've done it before, they would say, hey, did you ask about this? Well, kind of didn't. Well, now you're we're back into all these other things.
Because that has been hinted multiple times in here that institutional control is a large portion of this what they would try to hit a school
So
with.
at all of these schools, if you're at Tennessee today, are you going, hey, we need to dig into this ourselves? It's a problem.
But the problem is, forget Ole Miss, any school punishes their own collective publicly, well, that's a golden ticket for the NCAA to come in, and Chet's right here. He's exactly right.
He's exactly
to
right.
then punish you for cooperating and punishing your own collective.
Yes.
So, no, you can't do that shit.
So everybody just buries their head in the sand and hope that the whammy doesn't land on you, right?
Yes. You're all just sitting there hoping the roulette wheel doesn't hit 32.
So everyone's kind of playing press your luck.
I mean, some schools can be...
Let's keep going, right? That's what you do in press your luck. Let's keep going. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop. Oh, it's Kentucky. Thank God. I mean, you talk about a nightmare inside an athletic department, because what if you go, okay, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies, stop. Now you're in trouble. I mean, that's not a great business plan. It's a fun game show, but it's not a great business plan.
What's the alternative?
I don't know.
Because you're not hamstringing your own collective.
Well, are you telling them, hey, chill?
Well, no,
Now, are you calling? So here's the next question. Are you calling people in today? Like, are you calling Lane and Kermit and everybody else going, hey, look, I'm not stupid, but you cannot be telling your collectives.
Plausible deniability here, guys.
You cannot be telling your collectives who you want so that they can start having these conversations. That's got to stop.
Yeah, legally with state law, you can.
So I know.
Here we are. Legally with state law, they can cooperate with one another.
Legally, absolutely. But we're back to that conversation when the NCAA comes calling. Are you willing as an institution to tell them to kick rocks? I don't know. Maybe you should. I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, and Grind's got a good point here. They've been having the Miami thing. Giving a kid a larger NIL deal because he doesn't transfer is a clear pay-for-play inducement.
Yeah.
Even if he is a student athlete. You are upping his thing not because of market value, but because it keeps him from leaving.
Happened at Western Kentucky yesterday, I think.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's clear to me. This is stupid. The whole thing is so stupid.
I don't know how it's enforceable. But if they pick on somebody and enforce it, and it certainly sounds like they're going to.
They're going to try. Yeah. Most people agree they are going to try to hammer someone.
And if you want to send a message, it has to be a Power 5 getting hammered.
It does. Yeah. Come on.
You're Tennessee today, are you nervous? You're Kentucky today, are you nervous? Or are you just like, hey, are you girding your loins for a fight?
Well, I mean, you have to fight for multiple reasons. For the most part, you've got to back boosters that are in good standing at your school, that are just doing kind of what you're telling them to do, for being honest. You also have to fight for your fan base and just what that looks like from a perception standpoint.
Right.
Yeah, that there's no doubt. Yeah, you have to fight like hell.
So you're telling the NCAA to kick rocks?
You are. Yeah, I don't see, given the power dynamic of all involved, I don't see how any other method makes sense. But now that's a difficult place for a lot of athletic departments to go, nope, you're picking on us, screw you.
This is where another thing you worry about in this day of everything being electronic, you worry about a kid having a recording of a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Especially in one-party states.
Screenshots.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Greg Sankey yesterday reiterating what he said 7,000 times. His quote, we can stay at, about the playoff. We can stay at 4. The conference will thrive at 4, period. That's not helpful for the rest of college football, but we can stay at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
continues to say, you guys are just killing yourselves, but whatever. Whatever you want to do.
Well, the SEC is going to always get 1, probably 2 of the 4.
Yeah. Let me know when you want to stop being an idiot, and we'll
Yeah.
We'll
if you go to 12, the SEC is going to get 5. It's the best league. It's going to get 5.
But you're going to get 1 too.
Yeah, and everybody's going to make more money. I would love to know what Sammy brings up Sankey in the thread. I would love to know what Sankey really thinks about all of this. I mean, he knows what's going on in his league. He knows how much passion there is about college football and at some places college basketball in his league.
Sure. Just a quick thing here, then I'm going to go to a couple of things after the break. USA Today with an interesting thing. You can read this on their website. Attendance in Major League Baseball. Everybody's been talking about the A's and all the negatives, but just a little quick aside. Attendance for the first 12 home dates for every team in 2022 versus the first 12 games in 2019. Mm-hmm. The teams that are up significantly, the Blue Jays at 59% up, Marlins 32, Tigers 27, White Sox 25, Padres 23, Orioles 20, Braves 19, Kansas City 19, Reds even 15, even though they are historically they're up 15%, yeah, compared to 19. And then on the other side, the Guardians minus 18. I did not recognize their logo. I seriously was staring at it for like 4 seconds trying to figure out who that team was. Pirates 21 down, Brewers 22 down, Phillies 24 down, Diamondbacks 26 down, Nationals 27 down, and then the Oakland A's 58% down compared to 19. We all knew that. The
pictures of the A's stadium every night is haunting. I mean,
Are they losing the team?
I would think.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I would think if at this point you're looking to leave.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You could go to Las Vegas. You could go to Nashville.
Sure.
I think putting a team in Nashville just makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's become such a tourist place. It's also become such a convention place. People have the fan base has grown there. They did a phenomenal job, by the way, Nashville did with their MLS stadium.
They did.
It is cool. Fantastic.
Yeah, it looks neat. So, podcast brought to you in part by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. It's on South Lamar there in Oxford. Also on with Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs. And give them a call to transfer your medications from any big box pharmacy. You can go with somebody you know and trust who will deliver your medicine to you, including with MedSync. They'll do it one time a month to get everything you need when you need it in one delivery. So, again, in Oxford, that is on South Lamar, 662-236-2222.
I was telling you yesterday about service specialists. If you're looking for a job, well, also it's great place if you are looking for hard-to-find quality talent. If your company is. If you are, service specialists can help. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You've got nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138. Also brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. And don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward, chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves, one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. So call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com. And we're brought to you by Bell & Grove, based out of Chattanooga. Bell & Grove is a logistics provider with more than 35 years of transportation industry experience. They specialize in domestic freight movement throughout the continental U.S. They can navigate through supply chains while also leaning on their partner carriers to get the most competitive rate possible for their customers. For more information about Bell & Grove, call Daryl Oliver at 865-672-6557. Brought to you by Southern Traditions Farm. It's a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. They've got a lot to be offered at Southern Traditions. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails. They've got camp season coming up starting on May the 30th. So get in touch with Susan Walt, Bowers Cone, and the people at Southern Traditions Farm. You can message them on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. And if you're coming to town or if you live around town, don't forget about LB's Meat Market. Freshest meats, freshest cuts in all of Oxford, anywhere around here. Right across the street from Kroger, whether you're looking for beef or pork or chicken, fresh seafood, house-made sausages, it's all there at LB's Meat Market.
Told Neal, the full announcement is on Thursday, but the NFL has announced that Rams-Broncos is one of the Christmas Day games for this year. Obviously, the defending Super Bowl champions against Russell Wilson in his new home. So that is one of them. We'll get the rest of them here soon.
So apparently,
yep.
Today, there was Fox was having its earnings call with its shareholders.
Yep.
And there was an opinion that there was going to be some anger about losing Troy Aikman and Jack Buck.
Sure. So
they kept it quiet for the call, and the Fox Sports people were able to announce on the call that Tom Brady was coming to Fox.
Calm down their shareholders.
As soon as his career is over, yeah.
That settled it.
Pretty much anything Tom Brady touches apparently is gold beyond football.
Yeah. I do agree with this. It is actually the negative to Nashville getting a team is as regional as baseball is, and how regional is how you actually do well and keep baseball to be a sustainable business model. Being so close to Atlanta, Cincinnati, and St. Louis is an issue.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
It's hurting all of that, really, really, especially Cincinnati. I mean, that is.
I think the answer is you build another indoor facility, a retractable roof facility, and you put it in Vegas. Vegas has had tremendous success with both hockey and now with the Raiders. Teams like going there. You could play an all-star game in Vegas.
Sure.
I mean,
you don't see new records, things that have never happened in baseball because there's been so many games over such a period of time. Yesterday, Josh Naylor becomes the first ever Major League player to have 8 RBIs in the 8th inning or later of a game yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So, little fun fact there. He had a tying grand slam with 2 outs in the 9th inning and a 3-run homer in the 11th. Apparently had another RBI somewhere along there, too. So, yes. Had a run-scoring double in the 8th. So, run-scoring double in the 8th, grand slam in the 9th, 3-run homer in the 11th. Pretty good 4 innings there for Mr. Naylor.
He slept well.
He had a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, went all right. So, a couple things here. I was just skimming stories from the Derby winner, Rich Strike, yesterday. And I wonder if USA Today has like a word count quota, because the very last paragraph says, on Sunday, Reed, the trainer for Rich Strike, said he expects Rich Strike to run in the second leg of the Triple Crown, the Preakness, on May 21st. Was that ever a question? Did anybody go, you know what, we're just done now. We're not going to go to the Preakness. We're not going to run. We barely got into the Derby, but we're finished. We're not going to go collect that payday and that stud fee that would be coming because we ran the Preakness in 2 weeks. Like, what are we doing?
So you said you found some quotes about the trainer.
Well, yeah, I just found it kind of funny. So, because as you would imagine, when a guy is punching the Kentucky Derby winner on national TV, that creates some questions from people on why is he punching the horse at this point, and he's a psycho horse. They kind of admit that, but no, this is sort of kind of interesting. Where is it? I've got it here. First, PETA is issuing a complaint against the guy today for hitting the horse.
Okay.
Right when they get done with turning bullpens into arm barns, they're going to get to the Derby thing and poke us there.
Right.
So he offered his perspective. He was on the Today Show, Reed was, said that he praised his outrider, meaning the guy that was hitting him, for his efforts in trying to get Rich Strike to calm down. He said the outrider's job at the end of a race is to help get the leading horse and get him slowed down, take him around and let the jockey do the interview. Richie, the horse, he was in killer mode. He was going to outrun this is going to answer a question for us. He was going to outrun every horse on the track, and he had not had a horse after the finish line come over to him. So when he saw that pony coming his way, he thought he had another horse to beat, and he was trying to run by him. The man did his job. He reached out and grabbed a hold of the horse, and it made the horse mad. He didn't know he was trying to help him. He thought he was supposed to outrun the horse, and he bit the guy's leg terribly. Bit his arm a couple really bad bites, Reed continued. The horse is not a mean horse. He was just in race mode, and he didn't understand why they were grabbing him to slow him down. That man saved my horse from injury because had he got up in the air and lost my rider, it could have gotten loose and gotten really bad. I'm sorry for the injuries the outrider sustained. So he says that Rich Strike didn't know the race was over, saw the pony that was supposed to lead him around and was trying to outrun him, and that's why he was biting things.
When's that drug test come back?
He's more of an expert than we are, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You do not believe the horse was in race mode.
I don't know. I mean, I think the horse was a little jacked up.
Well, he had a lot of adrenaline. He just won the Derby.
Yeah.
He was pumped up.
I mean, he's like, I did it.
He's Rocky, essentially.
I did it. Yeah.
Well, hell, Rocky tied. He won.
Yeah. No, he was like Rocky after Rocky, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Adrian. That was his Yo, Adrian moment right there.
Because Adrian wasn't even at the fight, Rocky, the second fight, was she?
Didn't she come in at the very end? Remember, she had to be in the.
Yeah, maybe so.
It was two. Yeah, no, she was with Polly on two. Yeah, I meant one. She came. She came into one. Two,
yeah.
She's just watching on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody says they say this happens all the time.
Greg Jones was showing me a video of a horse race. I guess it was out in California, where one of the horses started trying to bite another horse while it was racing.
Really?
Yeah. And somehow the jockey stayed cool and got it away and still won, even though his horse was being attacked.
What the? I mean, really?
Yeah. Greg had a word for it. I can't remember what it's called. It's in the so it does happen fairly frequently that a horse.
But apparently there were actually injuries here from this.
Yeah,
these biting.
Can you? That's a big animal. If you get bit by that kind of animal, it's gonna hurt.
And he's psycho biting. I mean, he's.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, it accomplished its purpose because I am so into the Preakness now. Watching this dumb horse back on the track.
I'm nervous about the drug results coming back.
You really are. I mean, I know you're making jokes, but you're serious.
No, I'm totally serious.
You really think there could be something to this?
I mean, I will feel better about it, about getting excited about the Preakness once.
Well, frankly, that would be a horrendous. The sport would be
terrible
in
for the
severe
sport.
trouble. 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it'd be terrible for the sport.
When it's already, I mean, it's completely fringe. We watch 3 races a year. We have never heard of these horses prior to the Derby.
But we will be, if everything comes back clean, we will be psyched up about the Preakness.
We're in.
I'm totally in.
Because the horse is goofy.
Yeah,
that's really the only reason. It's because the horse is goofy.
He might win, and he might finish 14th.
And we go, okay.
And he might do something. He might do something insane on the track now.
And if he finishes 14th, we all go, oh well, all right,
yeah,
moving on.
Move on. And if he wins, now it's a 3-week buildup
for this 80-1 long shot.
Oh,
there's a movie being made.
It's movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move over Seabiscuit. Here we come.
Absolutely. What do you think old Rich Strike's doing right now?
Eating some oats.
Just probably had a little training run.
Yeah, he went around the track a few times.
Yeah, got some oats.
He doesn't seem like the horse that does real good aerobic training runs where he's just sort of cantering around the track.
No, he kind of wanted to go.
Yeah,
he was acting weird before the race.
Yeah, they had a hard time getting him settled.
Yeah. You ever seen a horse jaw?
I do wonder if he has a better shot in the Belmont being such a long race.
Because the Preakness is 1 1/8 miles.
It's short.
And then the Belmont's 1.5 miles.
I don't know the numbers, honestly.
I think that's right, because the Kentucky Derby is 1.25 miles.
I am rooting for this horse. I do kind of hate this horse, and I do kind of root for him. I'm just in. I'm completely
I'm totally for him. Are you kidding? I want him to win now. The idea of that horse winning the Triple Crown is it's
because no matter what he does, he's not getting a statue in Churchill. This isn't the horse that's going to get the whatever. He's not going up next to Secretariat.
No. He did run a hell of a fast
He was quick.
Derby, though.
Quick.
That cat was just getting started.
Which is the problem.
Yeah. He was like, let's do it again.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. Remember, midweek game is tomorrow, not tonight.
Kind of feel sorry for the
6:00.
mayors that are in his future, frankly, a little bit, right?
Ooh. Okay. On that note, we will be back with you tomorrow. Normal show tomorrow, and then the shows beyond that the rest of the week will be pre-recorded, so just heads up. Normal stream in the morning, and then we'll have more content to you, but it will not be in the normal format on Thursday as you are used to. So hope you have a great day. Go to rebelgrove.com in the meantime, and we will talk to you in the morning.